The alarm screamed through the bridge of the horizon's edge. Captain Jake Morrison jumped from his chair and ran to the main screen. Red lights flashed everywhere. His heart pounded in his chest. "What is it?" Jake asked. Amy Chen, his best pilot, pressed buttons on her console. Her fingers moved fast across the controls. "I'm picking up a distress signal. Captain, it's coming from somewhere near the Kepler 442 system." Jake leaned forward. "Can you tell what kind of ship it is?" Amy shook her head. "No, sir. The signal is weak. Very weak. But it's definitely not human. The patterns are all wrong." Carl Peterson, the chief engineer, walked onto the bridge. He was a big man with rough hands and a kind face. "Did I hear right? We found an alien ship?" "Looks like it," Jake said. He felt nervous and excited at the same time. Humans had been traveling through space for 30 years now. They had found many planets. They had seen strange things, but they had never found intelligent alien life. Not once. Until maybe now. "How far away is it?" Jake asked. "About 2 hours at full speed," Amy replied. She looked at Jake with wide eyes. "Should we go check it out?" Jake thought for a moment. They were an exploration ship. Finding new things was their job. But this was different. This could change everything for humanity. "Yes," Jake said finally. "Set course for that signal. But stay alert. We don't know what we're flying into." The ship moved through space. Jake could not sit still. He walked around the bridge. He checked the screens. He asked Amy questions. She answered patiently. But she looked nervous too. 2 hours felt like 2 days. Finally, they arrived. Jake stared at the screen. There, floating in the darkness of space, was a ship. But it was like no ship he had ever seen. It was silver and blue, shaped like a teardrop. Beautiful and strange. Parts of it were damaged. Black marks covered the hull. Some sections were torn open. "Life signs?" Jake asked. Carl checked his equipment. "One. Just one. Very faint." "Prepare the boarding pod," Jake ordered. "Amy, Carl, you're with me. Lisa, you have the bridge." Lisa Martinez, their ship counselor, nodded. "Be careful, Captain." The three of them put on their spacesuits. They climbed into the small boarding pod. Jake felt his stomach turn as the pod separated from the horizon's edge. He had done this many times before, but never to board an alien ship. The pod attached to the damaged alien vessel with a soft thud. Carl worked on the airlock. It took him 10 minutes to figure out the alien system. Finally, the door opened with a hiss. They floated inside. Jake turned on his helmet light. The beam cut through the darkness. The inside of the ship was even stranger than the outside. The walls curved in ways that seemed wrong. Symbols covered every surface. They glowed softly with a purple light. "This way," Carl said. He was following his scanner. "The life sign is coming from that direction." They moved through the ship carefully. Jake's heart beat faster with each step. What would they find? What did aliens look like? Would they be friendly? Dangerous? They entered a large room. It must have been the bridge. Equipment was scattered everywhere. Some of it was broken. Some of it still blinked with strange lights. And there, on the floor, was the alien. Jake stopped breathing for a moment. She was beautiful. That was his first thought. She looked almost human, but not quite. Her skin was pale blue, like ice. Her hair was long and silver, spreading around her head like water. She was thin and tall. She wore clothes made of material that seemed to shift colors. But what struck Jake most were her eyes. They were huge and bright purple. They looked at him with fear and hope mixed together. "She's hurt," Amy said. She moved forward quickly. She knelt beside the alien. She knelt beside the alien. She knelt beside the alien. The alien tried to speak. Sounds came from her mouth, but Jake could not understand them. They were musical, like singing, but the words made no sense. Carl pulled out a translation device. Hold on. Let me try this. He pointed the device at the alien. It beeped and whirred. More sounds came from it. Slowly, words formed. Please, help. They came. Destroyed everything. I am alone. Jake knelt down too. He looked into those purple eyes. We're here to help. You're safe now. The alien reached out her hand. Jake saw that her fingers were longer than human fingers. More graceful. She touched his arm. Jake pulled back without thinking. He didn't mean to. It was just instinct. Humans didn't touch strangers. Not like that. The alien's face changed. Her eyes grew sad. Her hand dropped. She looked confused and hurt. Did I do something wrong? Jake asked Carl. Carl shook his head. I don't know. Maybe it's a greeting? Maybe touching is normal for them? Amy checked the alien's wounds. She needs medical help. We should get her back to the ship. They carefully lifted the alien. She weighed almost nothing. Jake carried her in his arms. She felt cold, even through his suit. The whole time, she kept looking at his face. Those sad purple eyes seemed to ask a question he didn't understand. Back on the horizon's edge, Dr. Paul Henderson met them in the medical bay. He was their doctor, a smart man who loved puzzles. And this alien was the biggest puzzle he had ever seen. They laid her on a bed. Paul scanned her with every machine he had. The alien watched everything with curious eyes. Sometimes she tried to speak. The translation device on the wall turned her words into English. Where am I? Who are you? Why did you pull away from me? Jake stood near the door. We found you drifting in space. We want to help you. My name is Zara Kith, the alien said. I was Princess of the Velkara Empire. My ship was attacked. My guards, my crew, everyone died. Only I escaped. A princess, Amy whispered. We rescued a princess. Zara looked at Jake again. You saved my life, human. I owe you everything. But why won't you come close? Why won't you touch me? Do I disgust you? Why? Jake felt confused. No, you don't disgust me. Humans need space. We don't touch people we don't know well. Zara's face showed she didn't understand. But how do you share feelings? How do you show care? How do you communicate truly? Without touch. We use words, Jake said. Just words? Zara looked even more confused and sad. How? Lonely. Jake didn't know what to say to that. He looked at his crew. They all looked just as confused as he felt. This was going to be harder than he thought. Zara closed her eyes. She looked tired. Very tired. Thank you for saving me, humans. Even if I don't understand your ways. Paul gave her something to help her sleep. Soon, Zara was resting quietly. Jake and his crew left the medical bay. They gathered in the meeting room. What just happened? Carl asked. I think, Lisa said slowly. We just learned that aliens are very different from us, and not just in how they look. Jake nodded. He thought about those sad, purple eyes, about the hurt on Zara's face when he pulled away from her touch, about how she called humans lonely. Maybe they were. Maybe to her, they seemed cold and distant. This was going to be complicated. Very complicated indeed. 3 days passed since they found Zara. 3 strange, difficult days. Jake stood outside the medical bay. Through the window, he could see the princess sitting on her bed. She stared at the wall. She had been doing that a lot. Just sitting. Just staring. Not moving much. Paul walked up beside him. The doctor looked worried. He held a data pad in his hands. How is she? Jake asked. Paul frowned. That's the problem. Physically, she's healing fine. Her wounds are closing. Her body is getting stronger. But something else is wrong. What do you mean? She's getting sadder, more withdrawn. She barely eats. She doesn't sleep well. When I ask her what's wrong, she just says she's fine. But she's not fine. Jake, she's getting worse every day. Jake looked through the window again. Zara turned her head. Their eyes met. For a moment, Jake saw such deep sadness in those purple eyes that it hurt to look. Then, Zara turned away. Have you tried talking to her? Paul asked. A few times, Jake said. But it's awkward. I don't know what to say. We're so different. Every time I visit, she asks me to sit closer, to hold her hand, to touch her shoulder. And every time I don't know what to do. It feels wrong, like I'm crossing a line. Maybe you need to cross that line, Paul said quietly. Jake looked at him. What? Lisa has been researching. She's been talking to Zara, trying to understand Velcara culture. She thinks she's figured something out. Something important. You should talk to her. Dromino. Jake found Lisa in her office. She was surrounded by books and screens. Notes were scattered everywhere. She looked tired, but excited. Captain, she said when she saw him. I'm glad you're here. I need to tell you something about Zara. Paul said you figured something out. Lisa nodded. She picked up her notes. The Velcara are telepathic, but not like in movies. They can't read minds. They can't send thoughts. What they can do is share emotions through touch. When a Velcara touches another Velcara, they feel what the other feels. Happiness, sadness, fear, love, everything. Jake sat down. So, when Zara tried to touch me, she was trying to communicate the only way she knows how. To her, words are just sounds. Touch is how you really talk, how you really connect. Can you imagine what it's like for her? She's been here for 3 days, and no one has really communicated with her. Not in the way she needs. Jake felt a cold feeling in his stomach. We've been ignoring her. In her eyes, we've been ignoring her. This whole time. Worse, Lisa said. We've been rejecting her. Every time someone pulls away from her touch, she feels it as rejection, as disgust, as coldness. And Jake, there's more. Dr. Nina Foster, our xenobiologist, she's been studying Velcara biology from the data we got from Zara's ship. The Velcara need touch. Not just emotionally. Physically. Their bodies need it. Without regular physical contact, they get sick. It's like a human being kept in darkness. Eventually, they go blind. For Velcara, isolation kills them. Jake stood up fast. His chair fell over. She's dying? Slowly, yes. She's strong, so it's taking time. But if we don't do something, she will die. Not from her wounds, from loneliness, from isolation, from what her body thinks is sensory deprivation. Jake ran his hand through his hair. What do we do? Someone needs to spend time with her. Real time. And they need to let her touch them. Hold hands. Sit close. Whatever she needs to feel connected. To feel like she's not alone. That should be me, Jake said. I'm the captain. I brought her here. This is my responsibility. Lisa looked at him carefully. Are you sure? This isn't going to be comfortable. It goes against everything we're taught about personal space. I'm sure, Jake said. But his hands were shaking. An hour later, Jake entered the medical bay. Zara was still sitting on her bed. She looked up when she heard him. Her eyes showed surprise. Hello, Captain Jake, she said. Her voice was quiet. Hi, Zara. Can I sit with you? She nodded. Jake sat on the chair next to her bed. Not on the bed. That felt like too much. But closer than before. They sat in silence for a minute. I'm sorry, Jake said finally. For what? Zara asked. For making you feel alone. For pulling away from you. I didn't understand. I didn't know that touch was so important to your people. To you, Zara looked down at her hands. It's not your fault. You are human. I am Velkara. We are different. I should not expect you to be like my people. But you're hurting, Jake said. Lisa told me. About what happens to your people without touch. About how you're getting sick. Zara's eyes filled with tears. Purple tears that glowed slightly. I did not want to burden you. You saved my life. You have been kind. I have no right to ask for more. Yes, you do, Jake said. He took a deep breath. Then he held out his hand. You have every right. My now. Zara stared at his hand. You don't have to do this. I want to, Jake said, and he was surprised to find that he meant it. Slowly, carefully, Zara reached out. Her long fingers touched his hand, then wrapped around it. Her skin was cool and soft. And then Jake felt it. A wave of emotion that wasn't his own. Sadness. Deep, aching sadness. But also relief, and hope, and gratitude. You feel it? Zara whispered. You feel what I feel? Yes, Jake said. His voice was rough. I had no idea. I'm so sorry. You've been carrying this alone. Not alone anymore, Zara said. A small smile appeared on her face. The first smile Jake had seen from her. They sat like that for a long time. Holding hands. Jake felt Zara's emotions wash over him. Sadness about her dead crew. Fear about her empire. Worry about the future. But also warmth, comfort, connection. This is how we talk, Zara said softly. This is how we truly speak. Words are good. But this is real. Jake understood now. He understood why she had looked so sad. So lost. Imagine trying to communicate with people who wouldn't speak your language. Who refused to learn it. That's what the last 3 days had been like for her. I'll come back tomorrow, Jake said. And the day after. Every day. Until you feel better. Maaf, you would do that for me? Zara asked. Even though it's uncomfortable for you? Yes, Jake said. Because you're not just a princess from another world. You're a person. And you need help. That's what humans do. We help people who need it. Zara squeezed his hand. Through the touch, Jake felt her gratitude. It was warm and bright. Over the next few days, Jake visited Zara every day. Sometimes for an hour. Sometimes for several hours. They would sit together, hold hands. Sometimes, Zara would rest her head on his shoulder. At first, Jake felt stiff and awkward. But slowly, he got used to it. And more than that, he started to understand. When Zara touched him, he could feel what she felt. And she could feel what he felt. It was honest in a way that words could never be. Jake couldn't lie through touch. Couldn't hide his real feelings. It was strange, and scary, and wonderful. All at once. Amy noticed the change. The princess looks better, she said one day. She's smiling more, eating more. She even asked Paul if she could walk around the ship. That's good, Jake said. You look different too, Amy said. More. I don't know. More something. Jake thought about it. More open. Maybe. Zara's teaching me things. About communication. About connection. About how sometimes walls keep us safe, but they also keep us lonely. Sounds deep, Amy said with a smile. It is, Jake agreed. That evening, Jake sat with Zara in the observation deck. They looked out at the stars together. Zara held his hand. He could feel her peace, her calm. It was so different from the sadness he had felt that first day. Thank you, Zara said, for learning my language, for giving me what I needed. You saved my life twice, Captain Jake. Once from death, once from loneliness. You're teaching me too, Jake said. About your people. About different ways of being. About connection. Zara was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "I must return home soon. My people need me. My uncle. He is dangerous. He wants war. I must stop him." Jake felt fear spike through him. "It's dangerous." "Yes," Sara agreed. "But necessary." "Then we'll help you get there," Jake said. "The horizon's edge will take you home." Through their connected hands, Zara sent him a feeling of deep gratitude and affection. "You are a good man, Jake Morrison. Your people are lucky to have you." Jake smiled. "And your people are lucky to have you." They sat together, watching the stars, connected in a way that transcended words. Jake stood on the bridge, looking at the star map. The journey to Velkara space would take 2 weeks. 2 weeks through unknown territory. 2 weeks where anything could happen. "Are you sure about this?" Amy asked. She stood beside him, her arms crossed. "We're just one small exploration ship. If we run into trouble..." "I know," Jake said. "But we can't just leave her here. She needs to get home. Her people need her." Carl walked onto the bridge. "I've been running diagnostics. The ship is in good shape. We can make the journey." "But Amy's right. We're not built for combat. If someone attacks us, we won't last long." Jake nodded. He knew the risks. But when he thought about Zara, about everything she had been through, he knew they had to try. "We leave in 2 hours," Jake announced. "Everyone prepare." Down in the medical bay, Zara was practicing walking. Paul watched her carefully. She had been getting stronger every day since Jake started spending time with her. The color had returned to her blue skin. Her eyes were bright again. "You're doing well," Paul said. "Another week, and you'll be completely healed." "Thanks to all of you," Zara said. She smiled at him. "Especially Captain Jake." Paul smiled back. "He's a good man. We all care about you, Princess." Zara looked surprised. "You do? But you barely touch me. I can't feel your emotions." "Humans show care in different ways," Paul explained. "Through actions, through words, through the time we spend with someone. We may not communicate the way you do, but that doesn't mean we don't care." Zara thought about this. "I'm learning that. Your people are strange but kind. When I first came here, I thought you were all cold. Now I understand. You have walls, but behind those walls are warm hearts." Jake entered the room. Zara's face lit up when she saw him. She reached out her hand automatically. Jake didn't hesitate anymore. He took it. The familiar wave of her emotions washed over him. Happiness, affection, trust. "We're ready to go," Jake said. "We'll take you home, Zara." Through their touch, Jake felt Zara's fear mixed with determination. "It will be dangerous. My uncle's forces control much of the Empire. They will try to stop us." "Let them try," Jake said with a confidence he didn't quite feel. The horizon's edge left the system and jumped to faster-than-light travel. The ship hummed with energy as it pushed through space. In his quarters, Jake couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about what lay ahead. A knock on his door broke his thoughts. "Come in," he called. Zara entered. She wore one of the spare uniforms they had given her. It was too big and made her look small and young. "I couldn't sleep," she said. "May I sit with you?" "Of course," Jake said. He moved over on his bed to make room. Zara sat beside him. Without asking, she took his hand. Jake had learned that this was normal for her, as natural as breathing. She needed the contact, like humans needed air. "Are you scared?" Jake asked. "Yes," Zara admitted. "My uncle Duke Theron is powerful. He has the military on his side. He killed my father, killed my guards, tried to kill me, and now I'm going back with just one small human ship to help me." "We're small, but we're smart," Jake said. "And brave. Don't underestimate humans." Zara squeezed his hand. "I don't. You've shown me great courage." All of you. You didn't have to help me. You didn't have to learn my ways. You didn't have to risk your lives. But you're doing it anyway. Why? Jake thought about it. Because it's the right thing to do. Because you're a person who needs help. Because maybe this is why humans went to space. Not just to explore, but to find others, to help them, to make connections across the stars. Through their touch, Zara sent him a feeling of such warmth and affection that Jake's breath caught. You are special, Jake Morrison. Your whole species is special. You build walls, yes. But when you let someone inside those walls, you protect them with everything you have. They sat in comfortable silence for a while. Then Zara spoke again, her voice soft. When this is over, when I'm home and safe, what will happen to us? Will I ever see you again? Jake felt a pang in his chest. He hadn't let himself think about that. I don't know. You'll have a whole empire to lead. We'll have our mission to continue. I don't want to lose this, Zara said. Lose you. Lose this connection. For the first time since my ship was destroyed, since everyone died, I don't feel alone. You did that. You and your crew. You won't lose us, Jake promised. We'll find a way to stay in touch. Humans are good at that. 5 days into their journey, the alarms went off. Jake ran to the bridge. Amy was already at her station, her fingers flying over the controls. What is it? Jake demanded. 3 ships just appeared, Amy said. Big ones, military class. They're Velcora design. Jake's stomach dropped. Can we outrun them? No, Carl said from his engineering station. They're faster than us. Stronger too. Zara rushed onto the bridge. Her face was pale. It's them. It's my uncle's forces. They found us. A message came through. The translation device turned the musical Velcora language into English. A male voice, deep and commanding. Attention, human vessel. You are carrying Princess Zara Kith, who is wanted for treason against the Velcora Empire. Surrender her immediately or be destroyed. Zara grabbed Jake's arm. Through the touch, he felt her terror. Don't give me to them. Please. They'll kill me. Never, Jake said. He looked at his crew. Everyone to battle stations. We're not giving her up. Jake, Amy said carefully. We can't fight 3 military ships. I know, Jake said. But we can run. And we can be clever. Carl, give me everything you've got. Amy, find me a way out of here. Lisa, help Zara. Make sure she's safe. The 3 Velcora ships opened fire. The horizon's edge shook as the shields took the hits. Sparks flew from damaged panels. Shields at 70%, Carl shouted. Amy pushed the ship hard, dodging and weaving. She was an incredible pilot, but even she couldn't dodge everything. We need a miracle, Amy said through gritted teeth. That's when Zara spoke up. I have an idea. Amy, may I touch you? Amy looked confused. What? Now? Please, Zara said. Trust me. Amy held out her hand. Zara grabbed it. Amy's eyes went wide as Zara's emotions flowed into her. But more than that, Zara's spatial awareness, her instincts, her Velcora ability to sense movement and danger. I can feel it, Amy whispered. I can feel where they're going to shoot before they shoot. Yes, Zara said. We can do this together. Amy's piloting changed. She moved before the enemy ships fired. She dodged attacks that should have been impossible to dodge. It was like she could see the future. In reality, she was feeling it through Zara's telepathic senses. The horizon's edge danced through space. The enemy ships couldn't hit them. They tried again and again. But Amy was always one step ahead. There, Zara said, pointing at the star map. A nebula. If we can reach it, we can hide. Their sensors can't penetrate that cloud. Hold on, Amy said. She pushed the engines to maximum. The ship raced toward the nebula. Behind them, the 3 Velcara ships followed. They fired constantly. The shields flickered and weakened with each hit. "Shields at 30%, Carl warned. "Almost there," Amy said. One final shot hit them. The ship shuddered. Lights went out across the bridge. Emergency power kicked in, bathing everything in red light. But they made it. The horizon's edge dove into the nebula. The purple and blue gases surrounded them. On the sensors, the 3 enemy ships stopped at the edge. They couldn't see the human ship anymore. "We did it," Jake breathed. Zara let go of Amy's hand. The pilot slumped in her chair, exhausted. "That was incredible. I've never felt anything like that." "You saved us," Zara said. "Your skill and my senses together. We made a good team." Carl worked on the damaged systems. "We can't stay here forever. We need to make repairs and then keep moving. They'll be waiting for us." Jake looked at Zara. "Your uncle really wants you dead." "He's afraid," Zara said. "Afraid that I'll expose what he did. Afraid that the people will follow me instead of him. Afraid that I'll end his war before it begins." "Then we make sure you live," Jake said. "We get you to the Council of Worlds. You tell them everything. We stop him together." Zara touched Jake's hand. Through the contact, she sent him gratitude and something else. Something deeper. "Why do you care so much?" "About me? About my people? You just met me." Jake thought about the question. He thought about the last 2 weeks. About learning to communicate through touch. About breaking down his walls. About understanding someone completely different from himself. "Because," Jake said finally, "that's what friendship is. Caring about someone even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. You asked me once why I wouldn't hold you. Now you know. I was afraid. Afraid of connection. Afraid of being open. But you taught me something, Zara. You taught me that walls keep us safe. But they also keep us alone. And I don't want to be alone anymore." Zara's eyes filled with those glowing purple tears. "Neither do I." The crew worked through the night to repair the ship. In the morning, they would leave the nebula and continue their journey. It would be dangerous. More ships would come. More battles would be fought. But for now, they were safe. And they were together. And sometimes, that was enough. The horizon's edge drifted through the nebula for 2 days, while Carl fixed the damaged systems. Jake barely slept. He spent his time planning and worrying. 3 ships had found them. More would come. On the 3rd morning, they were ready to move again. "The council station is 5 days away," Amy said, studying the star map. "But Duke Theron's forces control the space between here and there. We'll have to go around. That adds 3 more days to our journey." 8 days, Jake said quietly. "Can we make it?" "We have to," Zara said. She stood beside Jake on the bridge. She had taken to spending most of her time there. Watching. Learning. Helping where she could. "The question is, how many ships will we face?" Carl asked. As if answering his question. The long-range sensors beeped. Amy checked them, and her face went pale. 10 ships. They're forming a blockade around the nebula. They're waiting for us. Jake felt Zara's hand grip his arm. Her fear washed over him through the touch. 10 ships. They had barely survived 3. "We can't fight that many," Lisa said. She had come to the bridge to hear the plan. "It's impossible." "Then we don't fight," Jake said. "We sneak past them." "How?" Amy asked. "They're watching every exit from this nebula." Jake thought hard. There had to be a way. There was always a way. Then an idea came to him. Crazy and dangerous, but possible. "The nebula gases mess with their sensors, right?" Jake asked. "Right," Carl confirmed. "So what if we turn off our engines? Go completely dark. Let the nebula's natural movement carry us out. We'll drift with the gases. To their sensors, we'll look like just another cloud." Amy's eyes widened. "That could work, but it's risky. We'll have no control." If we drift toward one of their ships, then we'll have to be lucky, Jake said. Carl, can you shut down everything except life support? I can, Carl said slowly. But Captain, if something goes wrong, it'll take time to power back up. We'll be helpless. Better than being dead, Jake said. He looked at his crew. I won't order you to do this. This is volunteer only. If anyone wants to take a shuttle and try to escape, I'll understand. Amy snorted. And miss all the fun? No way. We're with you, Captain, Carl said. Lisa nodded in agreement. Zara squeezed Jake's arm. Thank you, all of you, for risking everything for me. They prepared the ship. Carl powered down all the systems. The engines went quiet. The lights dimmed to almost nothing. The horizon's edge became a ghost, drifting silently through the purple gases. Jake sat in his command chair, watching the sensors. They showed the 10 Velkara ships around them. Waiting. Hunting. The horizon's edge drifted slowly toward the edge of the nebula. Hours passed. No one spoke. Everyone watched the sensors. The ship drifted closer to one of the enemy vessels. Then the nebula current shifted, pushing them away. Closer to another ship. Away again. Zara held Jake's hand the whole time. He could feel her terror, her hope, her trust in him. It helped him stay calm, stay focused. Finally, after 6 hours, they cleared the blockade. The enemy ships were behind them, still watching the nebula. Still waiting for a ship that had already escaped. We're clear, Amy whispered. We did it. Carl powered up the engines, slowly, quietly. They moved away from the nebula at minimal speed until they were far enough to jump to faster-than-light travel. Only then did Jake allow himself to breathe. 5 days to the council station, he said. But he had spoken too soon. On the 4th day, a single ship appeared behind them. It was huge. Twice the size of the military ships they had seen before. A flagship. It's the Thunder's voice, Zara said, her voice shaking. A message came through. This time, Jake recognized the voice. Deep. Commanding. Cruel. Zarakith, dear niece, stop running. You embarrass yourself and your family. Come home. Face your crimes with dignity. I promise you a quick death. Zara's hand trembled in Jake's. He won't stop. Ever. He'll follow us all the way to the council. He'll kill everyone on this ship just to get to me. Then we don't let him catch us, Jake said. But he knew the truth. That ship was faster than them. Stronger. It would overtake them before they reached the council. Another message. This time, in English, directed at Jake. Human Captain. You don't understand what you're doing. This princess is a traitor. She seeks to destroy the Velkara Empire. She wants to keep us weak, divided. I'm trying to make my people strong, united. Give her to me, and I'll let you go. You have my word. Jake looked at Zara. Is any of that true? Does he really think he's helping your people? He believes it, Zara said sadly. He thinks war and conquest will make us great. He doesn't understand that greatness comes from peace, from connection, from reaching out to others instead of attacking them. He's blinded by ambition. Ambition. Jake pressed the communication button. Duke Theron. My name is Captain Jake Morrison. I speak for humanity. We don't give up people who ask us for help. We don't care about your politics or your wars. Princess Zara asked for our protection. We're giving it to her. If you want her, you'll have to go through us. Silence. Then Theron's voice came back. Angry now. Very well, human. You've chosen your fate. Prepare to die with honor. At least. The Thunder's voice opened fire. The shots were powerful. Each one shook the horizon's edge like a toy. The shields dropped rapidly. Shields at 50%, Carl shouted. I can't outrun him, Amy said. He's too fast. Jake's mind raced. They needed help. They needed a miracle. They needed the council, Jake said suddenly. How far are we from their space? Carl checked. 4 hours. But we won't last 10 minutes against that ship. We don't need to win, Jake said. We just need to survive. Amy, plot a course straight for council space. Don't dodge. Don't try fancy moves. Just run as fast as you can. But he'll hit us, Amy protested. I know, Jake said. Carl, transfer all power from weapons to shields and engines. Everything we've got. That's crazy. Carl said. Do it, Jake ordered. The Horizon's Edge stopped trying to dodge. It just ran, straight toward council space. The Thunder's voice followed, firing constantly. The shields flickered and failed. Shots hit the hull. Alarms screamed. Smoke filled the bridge. Zara held Jake's hand tight. Through the touch, he felt her fear, but also her faith in him. She believed he would save them. He couldn't let her down. Shields gone, Carl yelled. We're taking direct hits. Hull breach on deck 3, Lisa reported. Keep going, Jake said. Another hit. The ship shuddered. Sparks flew from Amy's console. She kept her hands on the controls, her face determined. 1 hour to council space, Carl said. They wouldn't make it. Jake knew it. The ship was falling apart around them. One more good hit, and they were finished. Then, suddenly, new ships appeared. 3 of them, sleek and silver. They moved between the Horizon's Edge and the Thunder's voice. They opened fire on Theron's ship. Council patrol ships, Amy said, relief in her voice. They're helping us. A new message came through. A different voice. Calm. Professional. This is Commander Kyle Davis of the Council Security Force. Duke Theron, you have violated Council space. Stand down immediately, or face the consequences. Theron's voice came back, furious. This is not your concern, Commander. This is an internal Velkara matter. You made it our concern when you fired on a civilian vessel heading for Council protection. Kyle replied. Stand down. Final warning. For a moment, Jake thought Theron would attack the Council ships. Start an interstellar incident. But even the Duke wasn't that foolish. The Thunder's voice stopped firing. It turned away, disappearing into faster-than-light travel. Jake slumped in his chair. His hands were shaking. They had made it. Barely. But they had made it. The Council ships escorted them to the Council station. It was massive. A city in space. Hundreds of different ships docked there. Dozens of different species lived and worked together. As they docked, Jake looked at Zara. You're safe now. You can tell them everything. They'll protect you. Will you come with me? Zara asked. When I speak to the Council, I don't want to face them alone. Of course, Jake said. He realized he would do anything for her now. She wasn't just some alien princess anymore. She was his friend. Maybe more than a friend. He wasn't ready to think about what that meant yet. The Council chambers were huge and grand. Representatives from 20 different species sat in a circle. Zara stood in the center, with Jake beside her. She told her story. About her father's murder. About Theron's coup. About his plans for war. The Council listened carefully. When she finished, the head counselor spoke. She was from a species Jake had never seen before. Tall and thin with silver skin. Princess Zarakith. We believe you. The Council will send forces to help restore the rightful government of the Velkara Empire. Duke Theron will face justice for his crimes. Zara bowed deeply. Thank you. Later, in a private room, Zara hugged Jake. It was the first time she had done that. He could feel her gratitude, her relief, her affection all flowing through the touch. You saved me, she whispered. Again and again. I owe you everything. You don't owe me anything, Jake said. That's not how friendship works. Is that what we are? Zara asked, pulling back to look at his face. Friends? Jake smiled. Yes. Friends. Maybe the first real friendship between a human and a Velkara. Then we must not be the last, Zara said. My people and yours should know each other. Learn from each other. Like I learned from you. I'd like that, Jake said, but they both knew what came next. Zara had to return home, lead her people, stop a war, and Jake had to continue his mission. Explore space. Seek out new life. The goodbye was coming, and neither of them was ready for it. The council moved quickly. Within 3 days, they assembled a fleet, 12 ships from different species, all ready to help restore order to the Velkara Empire. Zara would travel with them, protected and supported. Jake stood in the docking bay of the council station, watching the preparations. The horizon's edge was being repaired. Carl said it would take another week to fix all the damage. A week Jake didn't have. The council fleet was leaving tomorrow, and Zara would be on it. Captain Morrison. Jake turned. Commander Kyle Davis walked toward him, the man who had saved them from Theron's ship. He was tall and broad-shouldered, with kind eyes. Commander, Jake said, I wanted to thank you, Kyle said. What you did, protecting the princess, risking your ship and crew, that took real courage. We did what anyone would do, Jake said. Kyle smiled. No. Most people would have handed her over, or never picked her up in the first place. You're special. Your whole crew is special. The council sees that. They want to offer you something. What kind of something? Jake asked. An official position. As humanity's first ambassador to the council, you'd represent your people. Help build relationships between humans and the other species. Continue the work you started with. Princess Zara. Jake was surprised. I'm just an exploration captain. I'm not a diplomat. You're exactly what we need, Kyle said. Someone who sees people. Not just aliens. Someone who takes risks for what's right. Think about it. Kyle walked away, leaving Jake alone with his thoughts. That evening, Jake found Zara in one of the station's observation decks. She stood by the window, looking out at the stars. She looked beautiful and sad. Tomorrow you leave, Jake said, walking up beside her. Yes, Zara said. The council fleet will take me home. Help me reclaim my throne. Stop my uncle's war before it truly begins. That's good, Jake said. That's what you wanted. Yes, Zara said again, but she didn't sound happy. She reached out and took Jake's hand. Through the touch, Jake felt her sadness. Her fear. Not fear of going home, fear of leaving him. I don't want to go, Zara whispered. I know I have to. My people need me. But these past weeks with you, with your crew, have been the happiest of my life. Even with all the danger, even with everything that happened, I felt more connected to you than I ever felt to most of my own people. Jake squeezed her hand. I feel it too. I never expected to care about someone so different from me. But you changed me, Zara. You taught me to be open, to let people in, to connect in ways I never thought possible. They stood in silence, holding hands, feeling each other's emotions. Joy and sadness mixed together. Will I ever see you again? Zara asked. Yes, Jake said firmly. The council offered me a position. As an ambassador. I haven't decided yet. But if I take it, I'll be here, working with different species, including yours. We'll see each other. Zara's face lit up with hope. You'd do that? You'd stay? Maybe, Jake said. My crew might want to keep exploring. But me? I think I've found something more important than exploring space. Connecting with the people in it. Zara leaned her head against his shoulder. Thank you. For everything. For saving me. For teaching me about humans. For showing me that different doesn't mean wrong. Just different. You taught me the same thing, Jake said. The next morning came too quickly. The council fleet prepared to depart. Zara stood at the boarding ramp of the flagship. Jake and his crew came to see her off. Amy hugged Zara. Stay safe, princess. And remember, you're always welcome on the horizon's edge. Thank you, Amy, Zara said. You're an amazing pilot. The best I've ever seen. Carl shook her hand. Zara held on longer than a handshake required, sharing a moment of gratitude through the touch. Fix your ship and take care of your captain, she said. Always do, Carl replied with a smile. Lisa hugged Zara tightly. You're stronger than you know. Your people are lucky to have you. I hope you're right, Zara said. Finally, she stood before Jake. They looked at each other for a long moment. I guess this is goodbye, Jake said. For now. Zara corrected. She took both his hands in hers. The emotions that flowed through that touch were intense. Love, gratitude, hope, sadness. Everything mixed together. You asked me once why I wouldn't hold you, Jake said. Do you remember? I remember, Zara said softly. You were afraid. Afraid of connection. I'm not afraid anymore, Jake said. He pulled her into a hug. A real hug. The kind that said everything words couldn't. Zara wrapped her arms around him and held on tight. Through their connected bodies, Jake felt everything she felt. And she felt everything he felt. It was honest and pure and perfect. I'll come back, Zara promised. When my empire is safe, when peace is restored, I'll come back and we'll see each other again. I'll be waiting, Jake said. They pulled apart slowly. Zara walked up the boarding ramp. At the top, she turned back one more time. She raised her hand. Jake raised his. Then she was gone. Jake watched the council fleet leave. Watched the ships grow smaller and smaller until they disappeared into faster-than-light travel. His chest felt tight. He had known her for less than a month. How could someone become so important so quickly? You okay, Captain? Amy asked gently. Yeah, Jake said. 2 weeks later, the Horizon's Edge was repaired and ready to fly. The crew gathered on the bridge. It was time to make a decision. Continue their exploration mission or accept the Council's offer. I've been thinking, Jake said, looking at each of them, about what we should do next. And I realized something. We went to space to explore, to find new things, new places. But the most important thing we found wasn't a place. It was a person, a friendship, a connection across species. And there are thousands of species in this galaxy, thousands of opportunities to build those connections. You want to take the ambassador job, Amy said. It wasn't a question. I do, Jake admitted. But not without you. All of you. We're a team. We do this together, or not at all, Carl grinned. An ambassador needs a ship, needs a crew. I'm in. Me too, Lisa said. I've always wanted to study alien cultures up close. This is perfect. Amy thought for a moment. Then she smiled. Someone needs to keep you all out of trouble. Plus, flying between different species territories? That's a pilot's dream. I'm in. Jake felt relief wash over him. Thank you. All of you. We. Besides, Amy added with a smirk, someone needs to be here when Princess Zara comes back. She'd be sad if you left. But Jake laughed. Maybe, yeah, maybe that's true. They accepted the Council's offer. The Horizon's Edge became humanity's first official embassy ship. They traveled between different worlds, met different species, built relationships, solved problems, made friends, and Jake learned more about the galaxy than he ever had just exploring it. He learned that intelligence came in 1,000 different forms, that beauty existed in ways humans had never imagined, that friendship could cross any boundary if you were brave enough to reach out. 6 months later, Jake received a message. It was from Zara. My dear friend Jake, the war is over. My uncle has been captured. Peace is restored. My people are healing. and I am finally free to leave. If only for a little while. I'm coming to visit, to see you, to meet your Earth, to continue our friendship. I hope you haven't forgotten me." Jake smiled as he read the message. Forget her? Impossible. "Amy," he called out. "Set course for the Velkara homeworld. We have a princess to pick up." "About time," Amy said with a grin. The horizon's edge turned toward Velkara space. Jake stood on the bridge, looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, Zara was waiting. And this time, when she reached out to him, he wouldn't pull away. He would take her hand, hold her close, share in that deep connection that transcended words and species and everything else, because he had learned something important during their journey. Something Zara had taught him. The universe was vast and cold and lonely, but it didn't have to be. Not if you were willing to let others in. Not if you were brave enough to connect. Humans had always built walls. It was their nature. But walls could have doors. And sometimes, the bravest thing you could do was open those doors and invite someone inside. That's what humanity would bring to the galaxy. Not just technology or strength, but the willingness to connect, to understand, to embrace the different and the strange and the alien, to turn strangers into friends, and maybe, just maybe, to turn friendship into something even deeper. The ship jumped to faster-than-light travel. Jake's journey was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. But now he wasn't traveling alone. He had his crew. He had new alien friends across the galaxy. And he had Zara, waiting for him among the stars. He thought back to that first day when they found her, broken and alone in her damaged ship. When she had reached out, and he had pulled away. When she had asked, sadly, "Why don't you hold me, human?" Now he knew the answer. He had been afraid of being vulnerable, afraid of connection, afraid of change. But fear was just a wall. And walls could be torn down. Jake smiled and whispered to the stars, to the galaxy, to Zara, wherever she was, "I'm not afraid anymore." And he meant it. The universe was full of wonders, full of different species and cultures and ways of being. And humanity would meet them all, not as conquerors, not as isolationists, but as friends, as partners, as people willing to reach out their hands and connect. That was the real meaning of exploring space. Not finding new worlds, but finding new hearts to touch, new minds to understand, new friends to cherish. And Jake Morrison, captain of the Horizon's Edge, humanity's first ambassador to the stars, was ready for all of it. The journey continued. The adventure went on, and somewhere in the vast darkness of space, two hands reached out toward each other. One human, one alien, both searching for connection, both finding it, because in the end, that's what really mattered. Not the differences that separated species, but the similarities that brought them together. The universal need for friendship, for understanding, for someone to hold you when you were scared and alone. "Why don't you hold me, human?" Now, finally, he could, and he would, forever.